Before we get into any of these topics, rather, I do have to talk about Space Jam because Space Jam just came out. I managed to get through it after I don't know. It took me 2 days to get through it, not like 2 whole days, but I started watching it yesterday, like when all y'all were over here, had it on in the background. Couldn't get through it. I mean, we had to like leave and stuff. It was my daughter's birthday, so we were kind of going around, and I just had it on the background. Needless to say, it wasn't interesting enough at all for me to wanna pay attention to it, in all honesty, but,
Yeah.
from what I did watch, and I finished it this morning, it's just it doesn't come to a surprise to me that the reviews are as bad as they are for it. Like, aside from, honestly, the movie, like, I'd say it's bad when the highlights of it, 'cause I guess I'll start with the good stuff, and the good stuff is literally just, like, the cameo appearances, like, in all honesty.
Oh, it's constant.
Like, and yeah, it literally is like a big commercial for HBO Max and Warner Brothers. The entire movie is just a commercial for Warner Brothers and HBO Max. Like, that's literally all it is. And unfortunately, even that part isn't even really done as well as it could be because they couldn't just focus on that stuff because then you're not going to be paying attention to the movie. Like, at the very end, like when the whole like basketball game is occurring, they fill the audience up with all of, like, these Warner Brothers characters, but they always keep the audience blurred so that you're not focused on trying to pick out who's in the crowd. Because that's what I find myself trying to do the entire time is, like, "Who's this?" You see, like, Space Ghost and, King Kong, Iron Giant, the dudes from, Clockwork Orange are back there, Pennywise is there, and, like, sometimes these guys are, like, fully in frame and you see them, and it's more or less like someone in cosplay looking exactly like them as opposed to them, like, CG inserting like what's his name? Bill Skarsgård's
Yeah.
Pennywise in. It's the same Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise appearance, but it's like just a dude in them. It's not you can tell it's not Bill Skarsgård, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's but the best cameo 100% in that entire sequence, and they show him multiple times. And John, you'll love this. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze when
Yeah.
he's in the bathrobe. So, when I caught that, it was, like, the funniest shit, in the entire thing.
That's pretty cool.
It was
When he's
very cool, and then, like, he was
when
standing next to an agent, like, from The Matrix. What were you saying?
is that when he sings the Mr. Freeze song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, when he's wearing that bathrobe, like,
yeah.
he's right there, he's in quite a few shots, and, like I said, Pennywise in it, they put him in a few shots, and, the Burt Ward, Adam West Batman's, like, in some of the frames. You see the Mystery Machine at one point, and but, I mean, that's the thing, like, at least for me, it was a good move for them to not have the background characters, like, in focus because that's all anybody would be doing. Because that's all I was trying to do, because nothing else was very interesting. Like, unfortunately, the kinda main overall plot was kinda like, meh. The unfortunately, too, the acting was not very great. Like, it
I
just,
wouldn't
like
expect it to
it
be.
wasn't very good. Like, from all camps, really, like, even, Don Cheadle in it was just, like, he was a little bit over the top and,
Yeah.
like, which is fine for that kinda movie, but it just everything seemed a little out of place. Like, LeBron James obviously is not a thespian, but, like, half the time he was being, like, ultra uber serious and, like, it just I don't know, it just a lot of it didn't work. The effects are really good. Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
like
they did good with that at least.
yeah, the effects are good. I wouldn't say it's like a dumpster fire, but it's just very I don't know, it wasn't very enjoyable. Like, it doesn't hold a candle to the original Space Jam. They
No.
do have a really funny bit where they're like, I don't wanna spoil anything, but because like, what I was saying before about the people in the crowd, that doesn't matter. Like I said, because it would've been cooler if, at least for me, if you could just kinda, like, try to pick out all the people in the crowd, but then no one would be watching the movie, so I don't know, but there is a really good bit that kinda references the first Space Jam that was, like, really good. So, like I said, I don't really wanna spoil it unless you guys don't care, then I can
I
give a
don't
spoiler
care.
warning. Like,
That's fun.
okay, so, spoiler warning while my hand's up, if you really don't wanna be spoiled anything, this is the best joke in the entire thing, is, like, during the game, while my hand's up, the spoiler's happening, I'll put it down when it's over. Um, during the game, halftime comes and they're getting their ass kicked by the goon squad, and they go in the locker room and like they all like try to think of a plan, and the plan is to call Michael Jordan and get his help. So like I think it was Sylvester who goes and like tries to reach out to Michael Jordan, and like he does, and then all of a sudden Michael Jordan's like coming into the locker room, but it's Michael B. Jordan.
Wrong.
And so it was just like they got the wrong Michael Jordan, and it was in walks Michael B. Jordan. So like the way it played out was just kind of funny, and that was like I don't know. There was like some good little
that's why he
jokes
goes.
like that, but
That's why he goes by Michael B. Jordan. Like it
oh
has
yeah,
to be.
100%.
Like otherwise you're living a life being compared to a basketball player. But
Yeah. But yeah, so that was like the best little like joke in the movie. Like and nothing really came of it. He just leaves right after that scene. It was there just for that. So that was it. That's the quick spoiler there, which it doesn't really affect the movie, but it was like the best little joke that I didn't obviously know to expect. So that was pretty.
right.
But nevertheless, I would still recommend
Wait,
watching it. I'm sure kids would like it, but maybe.
I'm
were the
sure it's a great.
cameos? I mean, was all the added stuff and the cameos? Was it? I mean, the most recent thing I can think of that I felt kind of like that was like Ready Player One, where they were just throwing everything
That was
into
how it
it.
was.
Was it kind of like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Like Spawn and
That's exactly how it was. It was like just
Okay.
that kind of thing. Like they were just
They
there.
really like it was cool to see them, but like they had no purpose being there, really.
Yeah. Like and there was a thing
Okay.
like the movie kind of starts out with like they need to like get the team, right? And LeBron's idea was like this isn't really a spoiler because it's like obvious, but it's like, well, that's cool. Let's go get Superman and get King Kong. We can make the greatest basketball team ever if we can use all the best Warner Brothers characters, but like they Bugs Bunny's like, "Nah, we're using Looney Tunes, essentially." Like, and like, so like you can't do that. And there is like a bit where like the animated Justice League's in it for like a couple seconds and
I've
like
never
that.
seen that.
Yeah, like but it none of it actually impacts the story. Like it inevitably just leads to the basketball game with the Looney Tunes. Like I was honestly surprised, and I may have just missed it, but I was looking out for a cameo of the actual Monstars from the first one.
Right.
Never saw them. Now, so I know at the end of the movie they turn back into little guys, so I may have just missed them because 'cause they're so small. I would find it really odd for them to have all these other, like, characters from the entire world of WB, but not have the Monstars in there at some point. So
Right.
I'm sure they were in there. If they're not, that's really weird, but I don't know. That was pretty much it. Like even like this, they were even referencing like Game of Thrones and stuff. Like you see
Yeah.
dragons flying through, and like it's
It literally says Game of Thrones at one point on the
yeah,
screen.
exactly. Like it
That
was really a big commercial. Like
that critic score and the audience score seem wildly different. I don't know if a lot of movies are like that or not, but that seems excessive. 50 points between the two of them.
I'd say 9 times out of 10, if not maybe 80% of the time, they're anytime I've seen, the scores are normally pretty close. For there to be that big of a gap, it's a little bit more rare. But again, there's over 500 audience score, and there's over 500 reviews from the audience and only 135 reviews from critics. So really, it just means like what 1 in 30 people didn't like it or something ish. So
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
or 1 in 30 did like it.
Oh, man.
My brain's going
Might be a little
backwards.
worse.
But yeah, but then the only problem is too with the audience score. I never really pay attention to them because you don't I could go in there right now and post an audience score, and like I could have not
Sure.
seen the movie. Like they have no verified
Sure.
way of doing it. Like I'm not sure if they. I don't know if it was, I think Fandango makes you actually verify with like a ticket purchase if you're going to leave a review. So like that would be a better one to use. But
Right.
nevertheless, they're normally not this disparaging, but if I do see it the most, it's honestly always a genre film that like has like the most disparaging, because like a lot of times if it's some like high art like critics piece, the audience score is normally lower than the critic score.
Yeah.
Like, but elsewise, the genre films normally have the disparaging balance. But that's just like when like Captain Marvel got like review bombed just by a bunch of people. Like they obviously didn't see the movie, but
Mhm.
it is what it is. But yeah, so that was Space Jam. That was a quick Space Jam review. I don't think it was as good as the first one. I would still like. I'd say it's worth seeing just so you can see all the references, and there are some funny jokes, but not as much as I would have liked. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Mhm.
but it is what it is. But nevertheless, guys, do not forget before we get into our main topics here that you can submit topics and questions to the show by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. And then also every Wednesday, usually if I'm not behind, our collectible reviews go up. And so most recently I did a little collectible like kind of preview tour. So you can go check that out. That is up on the channel now. Then every Friday we do live streams. So we talk, we review whatever the most recent show was. We hang out, we talk, play some video games. Maybe this all depends, but that's every Friday around like 9 p.m. Eastern time. So you come hang out with us. Then